Okay, so today I'm going to go a little bit off the cuff, and I'm going to talk to you about something that I think is probably one of the best movies made in the last 35 years. Geez Louise, I guess it would be 78. And that is Saturday Night Fever. You know, everybody laughs at me when I talk about Saturday Night Fever, but honestly, I think it's one of the most paramount movies of the last 35 years. I mean, when you really look at cinema in terms of where we are today, it's so vanilla, it's so homogenized, it's so generic. There's just nothing left. You can't swear, and if you do, it's just vulgar. But when you look at Saturday Night Fever, that movie was shot for $1 million. I probably know more about this movie than I need to, but this movie was literally like a snapshot of this guy's life in a discotheque. And I think what made this story so unique is really, it was kind of a love story, but it was also kind of a guy trying to find himself at the age of 19, you know, living in Brooklyn, and everybody back then wanted to get across the river to Manhattan, which was the land of opportunity, the land of milk and honey. And so he meets this girl, and they end up dancing, and she's living this kind of pseudo false life, living there with some older guy as a secretary, thinking that she's the cat's meow, but in reality she's struggling too. And the bridge is really the metaphor of the movie itself. I mean, it's really crossing the bridge of, metaphorically of life. So they, at one point sit in the park and they're kind of looking over the bridge, and he's telling this story about how all these people had died making the bridge. And when you look at today's movies, I think the 70s really had something unique that I'm not sure we'll ever capture again, which was really realism and looking at life from a dioptic, or what's the word I'm looking for, from a looking at it from a diorama, looking at it from the perspective of realism. Like when you watch this movie, the guy that works in the Tony works in the paint store, and he's just, his life is disco dancing, and but he finds it at a point where he's like, I got to change because this can't be the rest of my life. But when you listen to the dialogue and the script of this movie, you couldn't say half the words. I mean, it's so offensive now to just about everybody that like you couldn't even play this movie now. And I think that's what makes it kind of unique. A lot of the movies from the 70s were really they were really kind of pushing the edge. And anyway, it's one of my favorite movies of all time. I hated Napoleon Dynamite when it came out, but it's turned out to be my second favorite movie because it's really it's quite unique, and I'll do a little perspective on that. But if you don't watch it's Saturday Night Fever, you really should. It's more than just a guy in a white suit on a disco floor, which I think this movie really missed the mark for a lot of people because they just thought it was kind of campy, John Travolta dancing on a dance floor. But in reality, the richness of the script, the richness of the characters, the casting was phenomenal. I mean, they really put everything together, and they did it literally on $1 million budget. And honestly, I think it still to date holds up as one of America's best top movies ever made that is so highly underrated. But anyway, check the movie out. The sequel was horrible. Don't even bother. I'm not even going to give you a quick on that one. That was Staying Alive, but it was horrible. But this was a top-notch movie. Give it a pop on your TV and give it a watch, and it will surprise you, to say the least. Anyway, if you like this, you know what to do. Have a great week. Bye.